Good afternoon. Welcome to Money Mindset and Momentum. I'm very excited. My name is Jess Neely, the Savvy Finance Lady, and I'm here today with Matt Rogie of Khaki Consulting. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Jessica, how are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us today. I'm very excited about this topic as it's personal to me. I participated last year in a mastermind. It was essential to my growth. And so I'm very excited to have you today to share with us a little bit more on masterminding for success in 2026 for small business owners. But first, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, yeah, I'm super excited to be here as well. New year, new beginnings. I know we talked a lot last year during the mastermind again of just where we've been and where we're going, and so it's great to be here and to see that this what we're doing now is part of your plan going into 2026 of expanding your influence, which is incredible to see. So well done on
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
So I am a partner with Khaki Consulting. My partner Steve and I, we founded this about 3 years ago, and it's a leadership development company to where we come in and we help small businesses, individuals, CEOs, managers, teams really learn how to develop that people leg of their business. Most businesses like to focus on or they tend to put most of their energy towards production, towards operations, which are important because those things pay the bills. But it's the people side of things that tend to get left behind. And we've all been there. We've all been part of organizations and businesses to where that happens. So that's what we do. There's multiple ways that we approach that. The mastermind is one of them, and it's such an exciting thing. But before that, I was in ministry for about 10 years. We did some various things through our church around sort of global missions. We actually lived overseas in the island of Cyprus for a couple of years as part of a team doing mission stuff. And then before that, where really the base of my leadership experience and training and the ability to mentor, lead others came from 22 years in the military. And so I flew helicopters for that time for the Army. And that's also what brought me here to Savannah, Georgia. So a little bit about me. I'm also married now for 32 years. We have one son. They're married, and they've been married, gosh, I think going on like 5 years now. And they live in St. Louis.
Amazing. Well, thank you. Um, I had no idea that you flew helicopters, so that's a fun fact. And yes, definitely a long career in leadership. And I think that is evident in your leading groups and masterminds. So let's talk about what a mastermind is. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
Sure. So when if you throw out that word mastermind, most people will have something that comes to their mind. And there's some different formats from it. And we have, obviously we did some research and we looked at some areas. We talked to some very experienced people in this area that helped us get us to where we are now. But really, it just, for us, it comes down to it's an opportunity for a group of people who are in a similar I'm going to say stage of their business. And we come together and we help solve each other's problems. I mean, that's really what it comes down as a basic, as a
Agreed.
basic. Yeah.
Why should somebody participate in one?
You and I both know, and I know every listener, everybody who hears this, who's a business owner, entrepreneur, CEO, manager, you think, gosh, I'm the only one experiencing these issues. I'm the only one that struggles to figure out what the next step is. I'm the only one that has a task list a mile long and never seems to get things done. I'm the only one that will never take a step towards the dream that I have for my business or a new business. And
Mhm.
so what happens is I mean, we still might be successful, but not to your full potential. And so why should somebody come in, even if it's just for they're doing pretty well? I think everybody, a business owner would they're going to gain valuable insight just by participating for one season. And because through that, they're going to gain insight into their business they never knew. Last year we had a few business owners that they were just with us for one season.
Mhm.
And but it brought them so much clarity because they were able to verbalize out loud some things that they were thinking. And then you had these other different perspectives. I mean, we had this incredible group, of six other people that were able to speak from their experience. And, most of the time we don't see our blind spots. And so I think,
Agreed.
you know,
Yes.
that's probably the biggest reason is it helps you identify blind spots that you never knew you had.
And feel less like you're on an island. As a person that
Yes.
has their hand in four different businesses, sometimes it can feel like you were saying it is, I'm the only one that has this, 3-page to-do list today. And
Right.
you can get kind of caught up in that kind of negative,
Yeah.
cycle in your mind. And so, yes, I agree with you.
Right.
Definitely a benefit to feeling to having just your peer, having that peer one-to-one feedback, constructive feedback in a lot of cases. Um,
Hmm.
and what do you think? What role does trust play in a high performing mastermind group? Like how do you build that quickly within a mastermind?
Right. So, yeah. So first off, trust is the foundation. There has to be trust because if there's no trust, nobody's going to share the tough things that are going on. Because on the outside, when we go to our networking events, it's everything, hey, everything's going great. Yeah. Because you think to yourself, why would somebody hire me if I say my business is
Yeah.
struggling? Or if I'm having trouble with these employees, or if I can't figure out the best way to market this new item, or, I've got this, an idea that maybe everybody's going to think I'm crazy. And
Mhm.
so we have to have a level of trust when we come into a mastermind. And, for us, what we do is we clearly state expectations up front. I mean, that's the number one thing. And you know, through stating those expectations up front and then the facilitation of the group, because
Mhm.
that's what we do at Khaki Consulting. That's what, sort of this gift that we have, and then the ability to be able to facilitate conversations so that trust is established because we're going to be vulnerable as well.
Mhm.
Vulnerability builds trust. And when people see, oh, wow, wow, Matt really means he's telling us like inside details about his business. He's sharing revenue, he's sharing numbers. He shared the fact that this, what they thought was going to be a client, they said no. And how did that affect everything else? Things like that. And so we model
Mhm.
it first and
Mhm.
foremost. But then we tell people you're going to be asked hard questions. And if you don't want to, if you're right away saying, I could never do that, I'm going to challenge everybody and say, well, let's just have a conversation over Zoom or the phone or a coffee, and let's just talk about that a little bit because I think everybody can.
Mhm.
And so it just becomes a natural thing.
Yes, agreed. And I think
Yeah.
you're right. You hit the nail on the head. Trust is the foundation of a good mastermind group,
Yeah.
and really presenting it that way from the very beginning so that everyone knows
Mhm.
is just so important. How do you ensure everyone in a mastermind brings value, even when maybe their backgrounds or industries are different?
Right. Well, I mean, business is business ultimately, sales is sales. Everything we do, there is a commonality to it. And so, and I know, especially for new entrepreneurs, you can start to get that imposter syndrome. You can
Mhm.
start to think, oh, I don't have any value to bring to this. What? Well, you do because just by most of the time, the people in the mastermind are also, and this is not, we don't market it this way, and it's not what happens, but they could be potential clients. They could be somebody that would buy your services. And so you're almost getting this like beta test
Mhm.
with other people that, here's these ideas. This is a problem I want to solve. And we all have opinions. We all have experience. And that doesn't mean we take everything and we do, but there's gold in everything that we do. And so the value comes from that, and everybody has value that they can provide. And again, it's through the facilitation
Hmm.
that we make sure that let's not get off track. Let's let's keep the
Keep
main thing
it.
the main thing.
Yeah, everybody on kind of on task, but in
Right.
a kind of a nurturing way, really. And I think honestly, just in my experience, I think having different backgrounds or industries is immense value because different industries look at problems in different ways.
Right.
And but a lot of times you can use that in a different industry. So I think it can be a real benefit as well.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, and there's masterminds that are industry specific, which are great, and those can really help people dial into that industry of the problems they're trying to solve. But especially, as you said, when we're doing cross industries, I mean, all six of us, different industries, all of us had there was sales involved with
Hmm.
everybody, which,
Yep.
and so there's that challenge of interacting with people.
Hmm.
I mean,
Which
you can't
name
have
a
a business.
business that doesn't have sales involved
Right, right.
to an extent, you know?
Yeah, right. And yeah, and so there's value because there's things that you have learned in your career in insurance that um, I never would have thought about when it comes to leadership development. There were things, we had real estate, we had commercial and residential cleaning, digital marketing, skin and
Hmm.
skincare, beauty
Beauty.
products, but I learned so much from
Hmm.
each individual person. And I think, well, and I know we all did.
Yes. How
Mhm.
important is emotional intelligence in a mastermind and how can groups develop that together?
Yeah. So that's, it is foundational. Well, it's key that there is some level of emotional intelligence. And, not everybody is a right fit for a mastermind at certain times in their lives.
Hmm.
And so that's why, when we launched this mastermind last year, it wasn't just a blanket invite. Whoever wants to sign up and pay money is going to come in because there is a chemistry, there is you know, an ability to feel out somebody. I mean, that's emotional intelligence. You can just sort of you can tell and you can understand, oh, okay, that person is not just out for themselves.
And
That's
maybe
probably the
has a growth mindset. I
right.
think that's essential as well.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe also a foundation of a good mastermind is that everyone kind of has this common goal of growing their
Right.
businesses in whatever
Right.
way that looks like.
Yeah. If somebody's just like, and then we do this through the pre-screening process. If somebody reached out to me and I would ask them, why do you want to be in a mastermind? What about this? And they just say, well, I heard about, I'm lonely, I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, well, what's your plans for the future? And if there aren't some, or if they're very just status quo, that doesn't mean we can't help them, but the
Mhm.
masterminds we're currently doing are not for them right now because we do want growth minded. We talked a lot about, let's 10x instead of 2x,
Yes.
which is scary,
Hmm. Hmm.
but it's
But
exciting. And
fun and
yeah, I mean,
exciting.
really it
Yes.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Hmm.
For
Yeah.
someone trying to grow their income or business, what problems can a good mastermind help solve faster?
Systems, ideas for systems.
Mhm.
That's
Yep.
that's a huge one. I mean, I
Agreed.
think, that came up for everybody. What systems in place, even for people that are systems oriented, there's
Mhm.
always still more things to learn and to improve your systems because those are the things that I don't want to have to worry about that day in and day out. Those are the
Mhm.
things that are become roadblocks to us.
Time
So that,
suckers.
yeah, time suckers, right?
Mhm.
It's the ability to A/B testing, that type of stuff. I've got these two things, two ideas, or these two products, or I'm thinking about, time management. Oh, that was a huge discussion that we would always have around what do I say yes to and what do I say no to, right?
Mhm.
And so getting that feedback of just having some people to be able to go, because now we understand what your goals are. We cover that the first session. What are your goals for the year? When you leave, if you're just part of this mastermind for this season, for 6 months, a year, what do you hope to achieve? And so we all know that now. Your goal is to grow sales by 300% or to
Mhm.
establish, an automated sales process, whatever it might be, great. And now we can, as you're working through that, all your smaller problems need to be tied to that. Or if things change, right? Things
Mhm.
can change 2 months into a mastermind where you realize, I want to do something completely different.
Mhm.
I
Shift.
want,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's okay,
Hmm.
right?
Absolutely. Yes. I
And
mean,
then
it
we
can
can
bring
help.
clarity, definitely. Just
Yeah.
again, with the different backgrounds and um, perspectives and life experience of others in the group.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. hmm
At what stage of growth do you think a CEO would benefit most from a mastermind and why?
Um, Probably after their initial expansion stage. So I would say, for a new business, there
Hmm.
could be a place for a mastermind, but not of the current format we would have. I
Hmm.
think we would want people, to be in a position of, hey, they've been in business for at least a year.
Yeah.
They've got some foundation established of income. Okay. And it's their primary income. Really, it's a
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a primary income
It's
source,
their
and it's not a
primary
side hustle.
focus. Yes. Yes.
Right. Not that, and again, there are places for that to have masterminds around side hustles and things like that. But what we want to do, because of the people we're trying to reach and to help, are those people in that initial stage. Um,
Mhm. That
and again,
first expansion stage.
yeah, yeah. And
Hmm.
then because things begin to look, once you get into that expansion, you get through that, and now you begin to level off to where, all right, we need to make sure we're solid before we hit that next expansion. And again, if we have people like that, we can definitely, there would be great value in for that as well. But it's that initial expansion stage to where they're thinking about like, how do I grow?
Yeah.
What's that fear? Because every business owner,
Bumps
everybody,
up to it. Yeah.
yeah, and it's scary. Am I going
Hmm.
to buy this real estate? Am I going to buy this land to build X?
Hmm. This
Am I?
warehouse or whatever. Yeah. Agreed. Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I would encourage anybody to get involved in a mastermind, find one that's good for you and in the stage you're in. But definitely, it's so essential, especially when you're expanding and growing and
right.
getting that feedback from your peers. So
Yeah,
essential. How do
right.
you measure the ROI of a mastermind beyond just your revenues and profits?
Right. So it's interesting, and that's a discussion that I've brought. We've had specifically about my business, our business that we do in these masterminds, because just like anything else, we have to show value,
Hmm.
and some of it is, hey, your revenue grew because now we can't say specifically your revenue grew 15% because you participated in the mastermind, but
Hmm.
there is a correlation, and I think going forward into this next season, it's going to be not necessarily a measurement of revenue. That's part of it. Measurement, revenue growth, your goals. Did we help you
Hmm.
achieve goals? Get clarity on
Yes.
goals.
Yes.
Um, and then your level of peace, because what I found, I think for everybody, we all came in there with a little bit of stress levels of different over different things. But by the end of the year, we all didn't reach the same levels that we wanted to.
Hmm.
But there was also a release and a going, yeah, but I still achieved more than I would have without you. Everybody said that. That
Agreed.
and so, and again, part of it as facilitating the mastermind, it's a responsibility of us to help keep that somewhere in the forefront as a reminder and just to help, because as we're just not facilitating the groups. We want to make sure that we can come in and be like, all right, hey, remember 2 months ago you said you wanted to do this.
Accountability.
Yeah.
That's a huge. I'm so glad you brought that. I think accountability is one of the most, probably the biggest benefit of a mastermind is really having accountability partners. You have a group
Right.
of accountability partners. And then you guys, as facilitators, asking amazing questions when challenges are being faced, or when we're only thinking about a problem one way or one solution, and really expanding your mind. You do a great job at that. Um, when you look ahead to 2026, what challenges should mastermind groups be helping leaders solve the most?
As much as I don't want to say it, just because I have a love-hate relationship with it right now, but AI is a big one.
Agreed. I agree.
You know, I mean, we talked about AI, I know, a couple people through each of us, we've learned more about how to use it for our businesses and how to use it for various ways, and well beyond just write an email. I mean,
Yeah, agreed.
there's just incredible things that we can use it to help us in our business. So I think of helping leaders embrace that more, experiment. Um, so I think that's one of the challenges because, if you go to any general AI talk, thought leaders, whether it's a YouTube or a podcast, they all talk about, it's going to be the people that start using AI. They're just going to get more done. And so
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be the winners. They're the ones that are going to be able to get to market quicker. They're the ones that are going to be able to make changes faster.
Mm-hmm.
And not necessarily because AI is doing it all for them, but it's helping them process information quicker. It's helping them make
Mm-hmm.
decisions with maybe more information or automation too. I mean, you know, we've talked about that before too, is, what are ways that we can automate so those time suckers. And so the
Mm-hmm.
ones that are doing it are going to get ahead quicker. So, and again, that's not all we focus on, but I think it is definitely something every business owner just needs to keep in mind about how could AI improve what I'm already doing, whether
Such a
client
good
facing or not.
question. Such a good question. I agree. I love that. Okay, well, this is the part of money mindset and momentum, Matt, where we are going to do some rapid fire questions.
Ooh, yeah. Yes. Yes. Which scares me to death. And
No.
yeah,
Okay, here we go. First one, delegate or automate?
automate, automate, automate. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but automate.
Agreed. Music or silence while you're thinking?
Silence.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains, 100%. The biggest thing wrong with the beach is sand.
Yeah, there's a lot of it there.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, mountains all day, every day.
I love that. Favorite book or podcast right now?
Oh gosh. So there's a podcast. I don't remember who the host is, but it's a Diary of a CEO. It's a
I love
British
that
guy,
one. Yes.
and and he's got a passion. He covers all sorts of things because it's literally interviewing CEOs and thought leaders, but he's really on this lens of um, neurology and how the brain works and functions and just different ways, again, of how can we leverage our brain to better health, which will help us function better, which will allow us to do more, really, and
Mhm.
to stay healthy longer term.
Longer, yeah. I
Yeah.
know. And the variety of CEOs, like the backgrounds in different industries that he interviews, is so, so fascinating.
Yeah.
I agree. I love that podcast. So, Diary of a CEO.
Mhm.
Early mornings or late nights?
Early mornings, which goes in with the silence. I
Mm,
love getting up in the morning, getting a cup of coffee and just sitting for a few minutes. Just to quiet, but then I can get my most productive work done, before the sun comes up. And I'm not one of those, I'm up at 4 a.m. and I've done a cold plunge and
yes.
drank, mate
Yes. You have
or
this strict morning schedule.
no, 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 not at all. But at the same time, when I can do it, when I can, my day is around that, there is that block of time for me to where it's just, is where I'm 10xing it.
I love it. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Favorite productivity hack?
Let's see. I mean, honestly, right now, I would go with, I mean, Chat GPT and I have a
Our
relationship.
besties.
And but I mean, I use it for for everything. And again, I was definitely more of a naysayer to start with when this stuff came out, but we started using it for work. And now I just use it for other things too. I mean, just, you know, I had to prep a big breakfast that we're doing for 15 people, make it ahead of time. And I was like, okay, we're gonna do breakfast burritos. And I know I can Google that stuff and this and that, but I was like, hey, Chat GPT, this is what I want to do. And it was great. I mean, it was amazing. Then I was like, hey, how should I fold this burrito? It told me, give me, show me.
Amazing. That's
And,
amazing.
and again, it saves time because it would, I have a pretty high Googleness, if is that a word? But
It
I
is
can find
now.
things, I can find things via Google.
Yeah.
But Chat GPT, it's just so much easier. I'll turn on the mic and I'll just
Yes.
talk, I'll just dictate.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that's such a good one. If you could mastermind with any historical leader, who would it be?
Oh gosh. So here's an interest, and again, this is not political by any means, okay?
Hmm. Hmm.
But just, one of the ones that I would just love to sit down with would be President Barack Obama. And
Mm.
just because, and again, I don't agree with a lot of the things that he did,
Hmm.
um, but I also value and respect him as a leader. There's
Yeah.
just something about his character, his
Yeah.
nature that I
Hmm.
really respected, and just the way he carries himself now too, and with his wife and his daughters, and I just appreciate that. And I think it would just be awesome to be able to sit down with him and yeah, hey, let's, how can I
Hmm.
help solve your problems, and can you help solve, and just start that conversation,
Yeah. And he was a younger president. So it would
right?
be interesting. It would be an
Yeah,
interesting conversation for sure.
yeah, because
Who
he was
went through a lot of
40.
like life in the White House. That would be really,
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, I agree. It would
yeah.
be a good conversation. Favorite way to celebrate a win?
So this is something I'm passionate about, encouraging others to celebrate wins that, whatever it is, hey, hey, reach up, pat yourself on the back, but, you know, and I've got to force myself to do this. But if I get a win, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and go to Starbucks and I'm going to order a hot caramel macchiato, and which I do every now and then anyway. But at that point, I make sure that I'm like, okay, I've got it in my hand, and hey, that was, yay,
Cheers.
yeah,
Yeah.
cheers.
Yeah.
And it tastes different.
Yeah. I
And a
love
lot of
that.
times we forget to celebrate, but you have to
Totally
do that,
agree. Yes.
you know? Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I think, in fact, you should keep like a journal or a log of your wins and just kind
Yeah.
of reflect on them sometimes to remember where you've been, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
One habit you wish you'd built sooner.
Um, After I got out of the military, well, to answer your question, physical fitness.
Oh,
Because after I got out of the military, I just sort of let that slide and slack, and I wasn't a huge, physical fitness guy either when I was in the military, but I had to at some
yes.
level.
Yes.
But then let that slide. And it wasn't until a few years ago to where, again, through, a friend's series of events that, I was able to get involved again with or to start CrossFit. And, I've got some physical limitations because of my previous career, but, it's still, my wife and I are just mid 50s, and it is so important to us to continue to move. So that way, when we're 85, we're still,
You can still move.
that's right.
I agree. That's awesome. One word that defines strong leadership.
Um, Integrity.
I love it.
Yeah. Doing the right thing when nobody's looking. That is such a huge, huge indicator of somebody being a strong leader.
I agree. I think super important. Thank you so much for doing
Yeah,
this with us
this is
today.
fun.
I really
It's
appreciate you. Where can people find you?
khakiconsulting.com. That's our website. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram. Not that active on there, but you can definitely contact us through there. We also have our newsletter, our Toolkit Tuesday weekly newsletter. This is a free thing. I mean, literally all we're doing is we're giving the secret sauce away every week. with of how to solve a leadership problem with one of our tools. And that's a great way for somebody to, hey, what are these guys about? What do they do? You know, um, but it's just
A new
something that we do
business
for
owner
free.
that doesn't have a big budget would really benefit from that also,
Oh
from
yeah.
following from and then building your business to get involved in masterminds. And you have upcoming masterminds going on too.
Correct.
So you people can get information about that
Yep.
by going to khakiconsulting.com and submitting your info, and Matt or Steve will get back to you. But thank you so much, Matt, for doing this. I really appreciate everything that you do, your leadership, just your knowledge and encouragement is an amazing asset to this planet. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you so much, Jessica.